So it's Dean R. Rogers.
It's Richard, yeah.
Richard?
Yeah.
Rogers.
Richard Rogers. Middle name is Richard.
Richard? The third.
No, my grandfather's name.
You might as well be the third.
That's my grandfather's name. So it's named after my grandfather.
Thank you for being on my podcast.
Thanks.
Actually, this is going to be more verbal than it's going to be audio because I have two different sites I go to.
Okay.
When I put it up and put it on too. So how did I ask you about doing this? Because I can't remember when did I call you to see you attack?
Just reached out.
I reached out for you, and you said okay.
Thought I might have an interesting story, maybe, maybe not.
Right. Now, I don't like talking about the club, but you happen to be one of our governors.
Correct. That's true.
And this is your first time.
Thank you for your support.
No, that's what
I'm guessing.
No, I didn't. No, I can't vote because I'm a senior member now.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I mean, when I got.
Well, you were one of the people who absolutely pushed me to.
Oh, most definitely. I wanted you on there. Yeah. It should. Anyway, let's get on the thing. Tell me a little bit about where you. I know where you're from, but tell me.
Okay.
Where you from?
Originally born and raised in Santa Barbara, California. Okay. So
not
lived
a bad
there.
Place.
Not a bad place. Yeah, it's not a terrible place to grow up. And then went to UCLA. Okay. So I lived in down in the LA region. Actually, I lived with my grandparents who live just outside of Los Angeles.
Where?
Malibu.
They live in Malibu?
Yeah, they do.
Outside. It's a little ways away from LA.
So very good 4 years. Got to surf in the morning and then go head off and
go golfing in the afternoon.
No, I didn't do as much golfing in college. Okay. The team was too good.
Okay. So what did you study while you were in college?
I studied Japanese and international business.
Why did you pick Japanese?
When you pick international business, you have to pick a language. And so I started with Japanese. In my generation, I'm kind of the last of the generation that was actually interested in Japanese business.
Okay.
Like when I'm hiring foreigners now that are younger than I am, it's always like manga, anime, these kind of things that draw them into Japanese culture. But I was right at in high school, it was the end of the bubble.
Okay.
And so, Japan was buying Pebble Beach and,
everything.
They were the second largest economy in the world, and there was forecasts that Japan would surpass the United States economy. And so there was a lot of interest if you were interested in business in Japan. So I kind of got interested in that and then decided, okay, I'll study Japanese as part of my international business. Ended up focusing totally on Japanese and deciding I was going to do a minor in international business instead.
Now, did you have any friends? Did you have any Asian friends prior to that?
Yeah, so I grew up. My best friend was Taiwanese American,
okay.
And other best friend was Hispanic American.
Okay. And
so those two guys, I think in Santa Barbara in particular, and it's actually there's quite a few communities mixed in, ethnic communities within Santa Barbara. Right. Hispanic is very heavy actually, right. And then smaller Asian communities and a small African American community as well. Right. But it's largely, let's say, Hispanic and then Asian and then African American.
Right. And it's a high income area too, very high income in a lot of it.
I think, yeah, I mean it's famous for wealthy areas.
Right,
like
it's not middle class. It's not middle class.
Most of the town is middle class, yeah. Okay. But you have two bastions of extreme wealth, I think, which is Montecito and a place called Hope Ranch. So.
And where'd you live?
I lived in just the regular area.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
My parents are both middle class.
Really?
Father was an engineer and mother a nurse.
Okay.
So
that's not middle class.
Yeah,
engineer and a nurse?
Yeah.
Oh, you call that middle class?
Yeah.
Okay.
middle upper class maybe, but yeah, definitely wasn't the upper class. The upper class was a very different echelon.
Did you have friends? Did you have friends up there?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Right.
Yes.
And so, how'd you feel when you went to their homes and stuff?
Inspired to try and maybe achieve a little bit more. A lot of my friends' fathers were like entrepreneurs, had built companies, and I think a lot of my entrepreneurial spirit came from being exposed to people like that. In particular, I started picking up golf when I was 14, 15.
Why? Why?
Because I was interested in business, and I was reading investment books and stuff like crazy. And one of my family members said, "If you're interested in business, you should play golf." So
because you'd have get the connections and the people you'd be with.
So I started, and it took me about 2-3 months before I was just hooked. It didn't matter whether it was business related or anything else. I loved playing golf.
Do you feel like, just one question, because a lot of people get in for that very reason. They think it's going to really help them in business. Did it help you in business?
Oh, no question. Yeah.
It really did?
No question. No question. Transformed my career.
So tell me how. Give me some instance where golf, give me a situation where golf, you said, because of this, if I weren't playing golf, there's no way in the world.
My whole career trajectory started basically based on golf. So I wanted to work in finance in the beginning. I was very into investing. I started investing my college fund at like 12, 13. My father gave me a helped me set up a brokerage account, and I was investing money, sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully, reading books like crazy. So at 15, I decided I wanted to get a job at a brokerage firm. So I rode around town to a bunch of different brokerage firms in a suit, and nobody would hire me. And I met the CEO about a year later of a boutique investment firm that managed about $300 million on the golf course. I shot, I think, 2 under on the back 9, and all we were doing is talking about stocks the whole time. And he goes, "You got no idea what you're talking about, but you're interesting, and I'll give you a chance.
Now, how old were you then?
Just before I turned 16.
Okay.
And so he said, "Come into the office next week, and I'll set up an interview with our vice president, myself." And he gave me the first opportunity. I worked for Hammer Capital Management, the company, for 9 years.
But what were you doing when you first came there? You were no more than a runner, right?
Yeah, he was very generous. He said, basically, half the time you're going to be working for me, and the other half I'm going to be assigning you materials you need to study. Okay. So he was from articles to books to other things, and then I'm doing data entry and cold calls and stuff at the other half of the time. And became one of my mentors, obviously. And when I set up our company here, he was after a year of hearing no from other people, he was the first person to step up. I went back to the U.S. and I said, "I have no idea about language schools or Japan, but I'd invest in you any day. What do you need?" And he was my first anchor investor. That then the ball just rolled, and we raised about $1 million to start the business. And he was the first person. So I met him playing golf. Is he still around? Yeah, of course. And he's still one of my mentors.
How old is he now?
Steve's probably mid-60s now.
He's young.
Yeah, he was a young CEO. I was, 15? He was probably 37, 36, 37 at that time. Okay. And but I met him playing golf, right, obviously. And then he was the first investor that got the ball rolling here, and probably more than half of the investors in my company came from my golf network. Golf tends to have a little bit more affluent people who participate in the sport, and so it opened me up a lot to people who had built businesses, executive roles, and it just opened my eyes up to I think it would be more possible for me to go there than I would have thought if I hadn't been exposed to those type of people, right? Because it's not just the network, it's just the understanding that these are normal people. They're not that extraordinary, right? They're great people, they're smart.
To make it so that you take the leap and that you continue to do what you're doing, because you're saying, what's really different from him than me? Yeah.
And so golf course and golf communities, especially country clubs and stuff, really opened that up. So when I turned 18, I joined our local country club as a junior member. It's dirt cheap, right? You only get 5 junior memberships, but I knew a couple of people and they sponsored me in, and that really opened up my eyes tremendously. And I raised a couple $1 million when I was 19 to become a portfolio manager. So I was going through college, I was working for Hammer and managing money, and most of that money came from golf network and a few from family who trusted me with a little bit of money. And that gave me some initial kind of money management experience, and I did that all the way through till I was about 25 and then finished UCLA.
Wow. You have a brother, right?
I do have a brother.
Now, is he older or younger?
Older brother, 20 months older.
20 months older? Are you guys close?
A year and a half. Yeah, very close.
So what does he do?
He's a professional, retired now, beach volleyball player. Yeah,
the one that went to the Olympics?
That's right. So Olympic gold medalist. And
so you keep on using retired, and you know how I feel about retired. Yeah. What does he do?
He retired off the tour. He doesn't play competitively anymore. Okay, so now he's the head coach at Cal Poly.
Okay. And he enjoys
women's beach volleyball. Yeah, he loves it. I mean, it's what he loves doing. He was a collegiate, star volleyball player, high school, CIF champion, and then we grew up in Santa Barbara, which actually is a mecca for beach volleyball. It's where Karch Karai grew up, and his younger sister was in my brother's class, so my brother got to play against him on the beach in high school. And again, the same thing, it opened his eyes to the opportunities that volleyball. I could become an Olympic champion, I could become a champion at this sport. Being exposed to the top people and those kind of people, I think, did a lot for him what golf did for me in business. Is he was exposed to all these top people that had achieved these amazing dreams and lifestyles in a sport where I think, probably only top 20 or 30 people really make a good living, but he saw that it was possible, and I think the mentorship and whatnot he probably got also helped him with that. But he went on to become an Olympic gold medalist and won 80-something times on tour, and world champion and Olympic gold medals.
Now, you've been in Japan for how long?
20 years as of last week.
And no breaks in between that time?
No, consistently.
Constantly.
Yep.
Do you have any intentions on leaving anytime in the
So
near future?
once I retire, I'm 50-50. So I have a home in the U.S. and I have a home here.
Right.
And
Wait, don't just tell us. It's not a home. You have some homes in the
I
States.
do have a couple homes in the States.
And you have some homes here. Make it sound like you have a home. No, I've seen one of his homes in the States. It's in a big
nice.
lake and everything. Come on, home.
Yeah. So I've been fortunate enough to, have invested well and have a couple of homes. And, so our plan is 50-50 the whole way.
But you didn't get involved in real estate for the business side of it. You bought it. These are personal use.
Yeah, I mean, I invest in real estate.
Oh, you did that as well?
I do invest in real estate, obviously, in the U.S. and
in Japan.
Not as much in Japan, though. I'm starting to explore the Japanese market now. I think there was a lot of tax benefits to investing into U.S. real estate in Japan previously, and so that's changed recently. And so looking at domestic real estate investments for kind of tax efficiency and other things.
And your children free.
We have no choice. Yeah, by choice. So
no,
that's probably why we have more than one home, right?
Right.
Yeah. It definitely is a lot better, not better, but a lifestyle where we had a little bit more optionality to travel, and for me I felt more free to maybe take chance and build companies and invest in things that I think would have been harder if I had to allocate as much money towards college funds and other things. So I think it definitely freed me to pursue business as a kind of core purpose, and then have nieces and nephews, and so we spend time with them.
So your brother has children?
Yes, 2 children. Yeah, my niece is a star beach volleyball player.
How old is she
of course.
now?
She's 20.
Okay, so he started
22 now.
Right.
And my nephew is 19.
Okay, so not too far behind her.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're close. So you're very close. How often do you communicate with your brother?
A couple times a month, more than likely.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
A couple chats, emails, and keep in touch.
And how many times has he been out here?
He's been out here a couple of times. When he was a pro, he came through. We did some exhibitions and some other things, and then I think never for tournaments here. It was always for exhibitions and events that I helped organize for him, and then he would come to Asia for like the Shanghai Open and other things, and then would sometimes swing by. And then when I go back, we spend time together. He comes up to Lake House, and we do family get-togethers up there and those kind of things. He's
where's his home? Where's his home?
He's in just outside Santa Barbara in San Ynez.
Okay.
And he's got a ranch out there. And
does he have horses?
Yeah.
What kind of horses?
I have no
Quarter
idea.
horses? You're not familiar with horses.
My brother.
Does he breed them or what?
No. So my brother's wife, her father was a foreman of like a 30,000 cattle ranch, and so she grew up riding horses. And my niece was like a rodeo girl when she was a young girl, and so that she grew up fully into the horse.
So what other sports do you do? Because you golfing, clear.
Yep.
What other sports do you do?
So we're like a multi-sport family. I think my brother and I both, and my parents, everybody believes in not centering a child on one sport. And so I grew up swimming competitively as a kid, tennis, baseball competitively, soccer competitively, volleyball, and then golf, and quite competitive at table tennis as well.
Even now?
Yeah, even now. So like my brother and I, probably our most fiercely competed sport was table tennis.
Table tennis, yeah, because you can do that anytime, anywhere.
Japanese never see it coming, right? Like, we have pretty good hand-eye sports in our family. My brother's an Olympic gold medalist. I'm a scratch plus golfer. And we were viciously aggressive in growing up playing table tennis. So I don't lose very often. So it's one sport
That's my
where
sport. I like table tennis too. I really
feel very confident. I would say as good as a table tennis player as golfer, maybe better.
Was that right?
Yeah, I don't play anymore, but I can still pick up a racket and play
What I mean,
football.
so do you have any? Do you carry a handy while you're golfing? I mean, do you have a handicap?
Do I have a handicap? Yeah, it varies between about 1 to +2. So scratch basically. So pretty good. At the moment, it's a little bit better than scratch at the moment.
So how often do you get to golf nowadays?
These days, it's pretty easy actually because of COVID.
COVID,
yeah. So the easy playing through in the morning, you can get out and be done by 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning oftentimes. So I get out once or twice a week these days.
Oh, is that right? A golf course close by? It's not in Chiba.
Yeah, so I'm a member at a club here, and then I'm a member at a club down in
What club
Kelowna.
here?
Omiya. Omiya.
Omiya, okay.
It's only about 30 minutes from my house.
Went past,
And
30 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
Where are you living?
I'm on the other side from tack. So I'm over on the Nippori, Tabata, that area.
Tabata,
So
okay. Yeah, I'm about to say, it's not close if you, it depends on where you're at. Don't you have to pass Hachioji and everything to get to Omiya?
No, it's a pretty straight shot on the freeway.
Straight shot, okay.
Yeah.
On the Chuo.
No, I drive, so.
I know, but on the Chuo Expressway.
Yeah, I think it's on the Chuo.
The Chuo, it has to be. Yeah. All right.
Hey, very short though. It's about 20 minutes
because
on
you're
the freeway.
you put it in ludicrous mode. You're
No,
going.
I don't go that fast.
I
do use autopilot when I drive sometimes, but only on the freeway.
When you came on your Tesla, I said, "Look at this guy." You were so happy. You said,
Yeah,
"Look at
great
this
car,
Tesla."
man.
You had, well, I got its baby sister, baby brother,
What's that?
the Nissan Leaf.
Ah,
Mine
no,
says
it's
Leaf.
a Leaf. Yeah. Yours says Leaf with an
It
F.
says Leaf.
Seven.
No, mine actually says Lee.
Okay.
I told Nissan I would get it only if you put Lee on it, and they put Lee on it. Because I bought a lot of cars.
What do you get for distance on that?
They say you get 3 something, but I get around 290.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Not
And
bad.
plus the fact that everything in Japan's made for their electric cars.
Yeah.
I don't have to ever worry about it.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I did.
The thing
This
I
is
love
my
about
second
mine
one.
is it's free charging for life on mine.
Well, mine it
I know,
feels like it's free.
pittance,
It feels like it's free anyway to me. The fact that we
$18
pay
or something.
nothing
Yeah,
other than
1800
for
yen.
your tires and how. That's
Do you have
it.
regenerative braking as well?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I can put it in that mode so it
Yeah.
actually keeps my battery charged a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
And then it's huge on the life of the
It's
brakes.
It's unreal.
The brake pads. I mean, you have Teslas I know that go over
Yeah.
100,000 miles without ever having changed the
Easily.
brake pads
Easily.
because of the regenerative
right,
braking, everything.
Yeah.
That's a great car.
It is. And it's hard to be with, I have a couple other cars, and they're all gas driven, so it's kind of hard every now and then when I get in them. But
Same. I have a hybrid for my second car, and
Right.
I'm always like, how much do I have to pay to fill this thing up? It's
You
like
forget about it. Yeah, right.
I haven't paid for gas.
And you don't want your hands to smell like gas if
Yeah.
it's self-service. Let me ask you this: what are some of your plans for the future?
Basically, for me, like the language school business that I've set up several companies, but the language school business I established Rosetta Stone Learning Center. So we started out as Dean Morgan Academies, and we built a chain of language schools, and then acquired the rights for Rosetta Stone brand, sold that to Lincoln Motivation, which is a tier 1 publicly traded company. And so the plan is largely to continue with the group, potentially join their board, and then eventually after that look at U.S. Kind of Fortune 500 boards over in my kind of semi-retirement phase. I'd like to stay active and focused. And I still have several companies I help co-found that I serve as an outside board member of. And
can you mention what type of companies those are?
The one most people know is like our golf business.
Okay.
So we have Snell, which is a golf ball that's pretty well known. It's in competition with Titleist and the other major balls. The guy who actually designed Titleist balls and TaylorMade ball business is a guy named Dean Snell, and so he launched his own ball business when he retired. And it's his strategy, which I like a lot, was basically no sponsorships, no advertising, all word of mouth. You can buy a Pro V1 level ball, like a Titleist level ball, for nearly half the price, because huge markups come because of all the advertising and the sponsorships. And so balls have become extremely expensive for golfers. I mean, you go to like a golf course and you buy a sleeve of 3 golf balls, and it's like 1,900, 1,800 yen at a golf course. So you're talking a dozen balls at like 7,000 yen plus.
Of his?
Yeah. No, of Titleist. And so, the Snell balls are more like 4,000, 5,000 yen. So it's about 30, 40% cheaper.
Yeah.
And so with the same performance. And so I like that fact. And, when I was playing golf as a high school kid, golf balls were not that expensive. It's gone up just exponentially.
Because so many people are involved in it for the same reason.
Yeah, and it's big money sport now, right? So the sponsorships are expensive, and the marketing's expensive, and the expectations on companies to drive profitability, I think, is higher. So it's a combination of things. But yeah, golf balls are absurdly expensive now. So I like that strategy, and we built a very nice boutique business around that. So and some other small ventures, but I invest in other things.
Yeah. If people want to get in contact with you because they want to, how would they go about doing so? You can look up Rosetta Stone and find it in a heartbeat.
LinkedIn is probably the easiest one.
Good.
Easy to Google search and find. Yeah, it's probably the easiest one.
Well, I want to thank you, Dean, for giving me this time.
Absolutely.
I mean, I really enjoyed it.
My pleasure.
All of you watching, make sure you subscribe, press like, and leave a comment. And remember, it's all unknown, and continue to reach for the stars.